Hi guys, my name's Jaclyn White and welcome to Ultimate Tropicals. Now about 7 or 8 weeks ago we had a delivery come in from Indonesia that were I think 140 Alocasia. They were delayed in shipment and they took 17 days from the time they left to the time they actually arrived, and about 3/4 of the whole shipment was completely wiped out. At the moment still trying to assess how many are actually going to pull through. Had the opportunity to source some more. They've now arrived today. Still a delay in customs, but this time they've made the journey in 12 days and not 17. So on the one hand, I'm a little bit more optimistic that they will be in better condition. Having said that, 12 days is still an awful long time for Alocasia. So without further ado, we'll open the box and we'll go in and have a look and see how we fared this time. Okay, so as usual then, what I'll do is record a couple of each variety that we have, just to give you some idea of how they fared, and then we'll take a look at the whole lot once finished completely unboxing. So the first ones up would seem to be the largest, and these are the Sculprum. So we've got 15 of these. Okay, so here's the first one out. There's the root tuber on it. So that looks nice and firm, which is a plus. I would suspect these are just going to fall off. I'm going to have to generate new ones. But this does seem really firm at the moment. So, you know, that's got to be a positive. Unfortunately, the leaves, as always, have taken battering. One's fallen off, and the others are probably not going to be far behind, but it may give it a bit of energy just while we're trying to form some new root shoots. So that's the first Sculprum. I guess you'd be really disappointed if you just parted with loads of cash and this is what turned up, on the basis that you thought that you were going to get what you saw in the images, but of course the reality is that they will deteriorate. Okay, so we'll do another one. Okay, so much the same really. The tuber is firm at the moment. The roots are going to fall off, but the tuber is actually quite firm. Leaf-wise, such a shame when you consider what the plant did look like at the time it was boxed. But let's hope it comes back and we'll have something decent on our hands. So I'll continue to open the rest of the Sculprum. Okay, so that's 15 Sculprum unpacked. There are a couple of leaves that are intact and actually looking pretty good. but as you can imagine, most of them have seen much better days. On a positive note, the tubers are fairly firm, and I've not seen any signs of rotting yet. Yes, the roots are probably going to fall off, but the actual tubers themselves are quite strong. Just fingers crossed that they stay that way and don't deteriorate now. Okay, so next up then are going to be the macrorhizas, variegated, 15 of these as well. Actually, on the last shipment, these were the ones that fared by far the best, and that they're actually coming along quite well now. So we'll see what this batch looks like. And as you can see, I can pull the roots off. This is usually the case. There are a couple on there that might actually survive. Okay, so much the same as the last shipment really, they're in reasonable condition, as you can see, and we'll see how they fare. It's just such a shame that we can't get these things across in just a few days, and they arrive in somewhere close to the condition that they're in when they're shipped. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy with that. I think that'll be okay. Again, whether they will or whether they won't, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I'm recording this now on the 4th of May, I think. We're coming out of COVID now. All the signs are positive. The easing of restrictions further on the 17th of this month. And the sooner we can get back to some sort of normality, and the likes of DEFRA Plant Health decide to join the real world and work like 5 days a week instead of the 2 that they currently work, then maybe we can avoid some of these problems and have a seamless transition of plants through. So once again, not a bad little plant. You know, the leaves looking pretty good, really nice variegation. So if the rest of them are like this, then I guess I would settle for that. Okay, so that's the macrorhiza variegated unboxed, and not the largest plants in the world, but they've actually come through like the last lot did. The leaves are pretty much intact and some good strong tubers, so no reason why these shouldn't perk up and come on really well. Okay, so next up will be Nebula, and once again we have 15. At the moment, I really don't know how many of these are going to be available as surplus, because I've already said these are a replacement for the losses on the last shipment. Now I've ordered extra, so if they all pull through, then there could well be some surplus, and if that's the case, once they show some signs of growth and settling in, then I'll open them up for a pre-order. But until then, we need to assess them and wait and see. Well, that's a shame. That's the first one, and that is actually quite rotten. I can pull it off with my hands. So that's the first one really that's been rotten in the whole shipment. So let's not hope it's a trend to continue. So we'll see. That's it, sort of down to the hard, and we'll give it a bit of treatment and see how it fares. But it's such a shame when you look at the great leaves on them. Let's hope we can get it back to somewhere close to the original. Well, that one's got some root left on it, but much firmer. There's no signs of rot in that one, so hopefully that was a one-off. Really nice dark leaves on these. And you know, it's fared pretty well, that one, really, in comparison. We'll see what happens. Okay, so that's the Nebula, 15 pieces, and you know, the leaves have fared fairly well. But the main thing, of course, is the tubers, and some of them retain some decent roots, but all nice and firm. It was really just that first one that was very soft, and all the rest of them have been firm. So again, sort of optimistic that these will be okay. Okay, moving along, next we've got the Melo, and once again 15. 15 seems to be the magic number. These were inspected by Plant Health, so we'll see what sort of damage, if any, they've inflicted on them. I have to say that despite all my complaining about DEFRA and Plant Health, I don't actually find that they do damage to plants. So I can only assume that for their £192 fee, they are relatively careful. Okay, so there's the first Melo, and once again nice and firm on the tuber. You know, the roots are going to come off, but leaf wise actually not too bad. So I think I'll take that one. Okay, here's the second one. Just a little bit soft just on the bottom end, so I'll chop that bit off. But leaf wise, not bad, in reasonable condition. I'm much happier with a smaller plant in good condition than a big one. You know, it's fighting for survival. That's the Melo unwrapped, and again one was rotten and thrown out, but the others, some have still got leaves intact, and the tubers pretty good condition again. So again, hopefully we'll be okay. Next up are the Jaclyn. These took a real hit on the first shipment, so fingers crossed that these are going to fare better. It'll be disappointing now if these don't come through, because the rest of the shipment actually does look okay. I mean, generally these are going to be the most sensitive. That's why they're one of the more rare ones, of course. Okay, so the tuber is pretty firm. I can't detect any signs of rot there at the moment. Obviously the leaf has took a battering, so we'll see where that goes. Okay, so once again, tuber is pretty firm. This one's a bit trashed. This one actually doesn't look too bad. Okay, so that's the Jaclyn unboxed, and again, as you would expect, leaves looking a little bit tatty, but on the last shipment there was no leaves. And again, the tubers, there were two, if I recall, they were rotten, and the rest of them do seem pretty firm. So again, hopefully they're going to pull through. Okay, so that's the Alocasia unpacked, and now we've got the Dark Mama Ace of Spades to finish off with, and 25 of these. As you probably know, these have been going really well, and these were the last 25 that he had. So I've taken them all before he runs out of stock. So as I said, quite small. There are the roots on them, a little bit soft, so we'll see what happens, but some of them might actually come off. But the actual leaves, nice and healthy. Okay, so that's the unboxing finished. Just going to place them in the greenhouse now. We've got like 80% humidity in here. So the Dark Mama. Dark Mamas, they've gone into some liquid to have a drink because some of them were wilting, whereas the Alocasia, they were still quite damp, and I don't really want the tubers to be rotting out, so I'm going to leave them to dry out a little bit, although they will be in the humidity overnight. Same goes here, and same here. So that's the results of the unboxing. So to sum that up, a much more successful shipment than the last one for sure, which was 17 days. This one 12 days, so there's still quite a lot of damage, but nevertheless, you know, every day they spend in the box is a day longer to. Every day they spend in the box increases the likelihood that we're going to lose them. So I'll come back tomorrow. We'll get these into some damp perlite and see if we can start the acclimation process. Okay guys, hopefully that was useful, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye for now.